Hello everyone. Welcome to another session on Asterias rubens. Here we will be discussing on the general characters and morphological characters of Asterias rubens, the common starfish. The sea stars or the starfish, they are free-living marine animals and usually found on the sandy or muddy bottoms. Uh, can be found crawling over rocks and shells, and they are usually found in almost all the seas from tide marks to deep waters. You can see over here this is a starfish which was found walking on the shore, okay, the coastal area, the beach, right? Then we can also find that uh, they are carnivorous in nature. All the sea stars, actually, they are carnivorous in nature, feeding mainly on crustaceans, polychaetes, mollusks, and they also are found to feed on detritus, that is the decaying matter, and planktons entrapped in the mucus secreted by the body and carried to the mouth by cilia. So the mucus which is secreted by the body entraps plankton, and this is being carried to the mouth with the help of the cilia present on the arms. They also exhibit a very powerful what you call ability to for autotomy and regeneration. Autotomy in the sense self mutilation, that is breaking off its own body part, but after that it can regenerate its whole body part. Okay, if a single arm is being removed or it is mutilated, what happens is, if the arm contains a part of the central disc, the whole body with all the five arms can be regenerated by many of the starfishes. Okay, then this is about the general features. Then about the morphological features, this is about the external morphological features. Especially here you can see the oral surface. The oral surface, you can see it is the part with the mouth. Okay, it is referred as the oral surface. Okay, now the sea stars, as you can see, they are pentamerous in nature. That is like a pentaradial, we can call it as pentamerous, or radial symmetry, or it can be called as a pentaradial symmetry, but derived from larva which is bilaterally symmetrical. Okay, the Asterias, it consists of a central disc. You can see over here, this part is the central disc which bear the mouth in the center. So this is the central disc, and from the central disc radiate the five elongated arms. You can see here it is gradually tapering elongated arms. They actually radiate from the central disc, right? And the arms, it is also referred as the rays. Okay, the arms. Now coming to the oral surface, if you can see, this is the oral surface, and this one shows the aboral surface. So going into detailed structure of the oral surface, the the oral surface, it is the lower surface close to the substratum, usually directed towards the substratum. It is a flat lower surface of the body, and the central disc on the surface, it bears a centrally located mouth. You can see over here it is almost like what you call pentagonal aperture with five angles. Okay, the mouth is pentagonal in nature with five what you call angles, and each angle being directed towards an arm. Over here you can find it. Okay, if you closely look into the mouth marked over here, it is also a very typical pentagonal in nature, and each of the what you call corner or the angle, it is directed towards an arm. Okay, now the mouth, it is surrounded by a soft delicate membrane. It is because it is surrounding the oral aperture, it is known as a perioral membrane, or otherwise it is known as a peristome. Okay, and this peristome, it is like the mouth, it is guarded by oral spines, actually five groups of oral spines, which are referred as mouth papillae. Okay, from each angle of the mouth, we can see extends a narrow ambulacral groove. Okay, you can see here from each angle of the mouth extends radially a narrow groove which extends from the peristome region or to till the tip of each arm, and this groove is what is known as a ambulacral groove. Okay, it is known as the ambulacral groove. It runs along the oral surface or the ventral surface of the corresponding arm of each arm. Okay, and each groove, if we look into, it is guarded on each side uh, by 2 or 3 rows of movable, what you call calcareous ambulacral spines, which are capable of closing over the groove. So these each of the ambulacral groove, it is being guarded on either side by 2 or 3 rows of the spines, the calcareous spines. Okay, and external to these spines are immovable spines. 2 or 3 rows of immovable stout spines can be found arranged on lateral sides of these ambulacral spines. Okay, and beyond these immobile spines occur another series of marginal spines which demarcate the what you call the oral surface from the aboral surface. Okay, now, around and in between these spines, which we have mentioned, the movable spines and the immobile spines, we can see around these spines occur tiny pincer-like structures. Like pincer in the sense, it is somewhat like the tip, the what you call scissor-like structures. Okay, pincer-like structures. Uh, uh, they are known as pedicellariae. Okay, they are known as pedicellariae, the structure of which we'll be detailing in the coming presentations. And these pedicellariae, they are what do you call grasping organs, and they are meant for cleaning or protecting the body surface. Okay, cleaning in the sense, these animals, they are found crawling over the substratum. So the different kinds of debris may get deposited on the body surface, so that have to be removed, and that is being done with the help of pedicellariae, which are found in and around, sorry, like around and between the spines on the oral surface. The same kind of pedicellariae can be found on the aboral surface as well. Okay, there also we can find it. It is meant for cleaning the body surface, cleaning of the debris deposited on the body surface. Okay, um, there also we can find that occur minute finger-like hollow retractile processes, which are referred as dermal branchiae. As the name suggests, they are gills and they are meant for respiration. Okay, dermal branchiae. So these occur on both the surfaces. They are finger-like, hollow, retractile, that can be retracted into and projected out. Okay, retractile processes, and these project out through minute openings, which are referred as the dermal pores, which are found on the integument. As already mentioned, the dermal branchia, as the name suggests, it is meant for respiration. But apart from the respiratory function, it also bring about excretion. Okay, so again, just like pedicellariae, the dermal branchia are also found on both the surfaces, the oral as well as the aboral surfaces. Okay, now each ambulacral groove, coming back to the ambulacral groove over here. So this is the ambulacral groove. Okay, the center one. Okay, here you can see the groove. Actually, the groove is somewhat covered by those spines. Okay, now coming to the the sides of the ambulacral groove, you can see two double rows of two rows, two double rows actually. Okay, on either side, double rows of retractile projections, which are referred as tube feet. Tube feet is, you can see over here. Okay, the tube feet, again, it is very specific to echinoderms, and here in the case of the asterias, the tube feet are meant for locomotion, food capture, respiration, etc. Okay, and the tip of each arm here, it bears a structure, a non-retractile hollow projection. It is referred as a terminal tentacle. The tentacle itself, it says something about sensory structure, isn't it? So the terminal tentacle, it acts as a tactile and olfactory organ. Tactile in the sense they are touch receptors. They also have a function as olfactory receptor. Okay, chemosensory structures. Now, at the base of the terminal tentacle on each arm, you can find a bright red photosensitive eye spot present. Okay, and these are present on each arm. So as already mentioned earlier, that is, radial symmetry is actually an adaptation for those organisms which live very close to the substratum, because the radial symmetry helps in extending out these kinds of sensory structures all around the body uniformly. Okay, so here you can see the terminal tentacle as well as the ocelli present at the end of each arm. It helps it function as what you call sensory structures in asterias. Okay, now coming to the aboral surface. So this is the aboral surface. Aboral surface is just opposite to the oral surface, and they bear the anal opening. Okay, here you can see the anal opening. It's marked over here. Apart from that, being a character of asteroidea to which the asterias belong to, the anal opening and the madreporite, the structure, it is present on the aboral surface. Both are present on the aboral surface. Okay, so it is the upper and slightly convex dorsal surface of the body, and it bears a large number of short, blunt, immovable, calcareous spines, or which are known as the tubercles, and it is arranged in irregular rows. You can see over here, all along the arm you can find it, arranged in irregular rows parallel with the long axis of the arms. Okay, so they are known as the tubercles. Okay, as already mentioned, we can also find what you call pedicellariae and dermal branchiae in and around the spines. Here you can see the spines are present, the tubercles are present. So these all along the around and between these spines you can see the pedicellariae, and also we can find the dermal branchiae present. Okay, now apart from that, as already mentioned, the aboral surface is unique in having the anal opening and madreporite, right? Uh, Anal opening, it is minute aperture situated close to the center of, it is not in the center, just like as the what you call mouth on the other side, but it is slightly towards the uh, side. Okay, it is shifted towards a little to one side, and another opening, it is actually not, you can't say it is opening, it is a sieve like plate. Okay, so this is the actual like image of madreporite. Okay, here you can see the madreporite, it is a sieve like structure. Okay, so this madreporite, it is a flat circular area which is present in an interradius, that is, this is considered to be a radius, isn't it? So it is between interradius. Okay, it is in the interradius between two arms. Okay, and it is situated in the interradius between two arms. Okay, and these two arms, which do have a madreporite at its base, it is considered to be the bivium. Okay, it is known as a bivium, while the remaining three together, it is known as a trivium, right? As already mentioned, the madreporite is a sieve-like plate and with numerous narrow radiating grooves which bear pores in them. And these pores, it leads into the water vascular system, which is very unique in the case of asterias. Okay, so here you can see uh, a section of the arm taken, right? So here, this is the outer covering, and the outer covering, it is provided with calcareous ossicles, and these contains, you can see over here, these structures, these are the spines, and between and around the spines you can see structures, pincer like structures you can see here, right? It is, they are referred as pedicellariae, and also dermal branchia or the gills, which are meant for respiration and excretion. Okay, apart from that, what all other structures you can find? On the ventral side, on the arms, you can find the tube feet. Okay, this is the tube feet, right? The tube feet, you can see it is like swollen on the like proximal side, and distally it is having a structure somewhat like this. Okay, this is known as a ampulla. So the tube feet contains ampulla here. Okay, now so this is about the like external structures. Fine. Now the internal structures and each of the systems, we will be learning it in the coming presentations. Okay, thank you.